Welcome back to the Inspired Life Vancouver. I'm your host, Zara Durrani. Each week, we aim to bring inspiring locals who are making a positive impact on their community. Today, with me, I'm very excited to have with us Joann Fowler, who is an Emmy-nominated makeup artist. You have seen her work in Frankie and Alice with Halle Berry, in The L Word, Final Destination. Her resume just goes on and on and on. And she is also the founder of vegan makeup brand Sappho New Paradigm. Thank you so much for joining us. I know you're super busy. Thank you for taking the time and coming here today.
Well, thanks for having me.
My pleasure, my pleasure. So, wow, what a resume you have.
It's been a great career. I've been really lucky. I've been really, really fortunate. I got in right at the right time, and yeah, I've really enjoyed myself.
And you have worked with some stars. Like, the list just goes on. I see on IMDb, key makeup artist, key makeup artist. Like, wow, I'm sure you must have some stories to tell. But one of the things that I like to do with all of our guests is hit rewind and ask them what inspired them to get started. How and when did you know that this was your calling?
Well, it's really funny. When I was about 14 or 15, my parents owned a store, and they had all the 16 magazines. And I would go and, I would just look at all the magazines all the time. And I had very small eyes. And I also wanted to be twiggy. And I was quite heavy. So I was like, I didn't really fit the look. And I read about how you could use contour on your eyes to make your eyes look bigger. And I tried it, and I loved it. So I was like 14 then. I was in grade 9 or something. And that's when I sort of realized that you could use makeup to change features. And I was really excited about that. So I asked my mom if I could take a makeup course, and she told me that only whores wear makeup. And she wasn't like that. Normally she must have had a really bad day that day, because it really wasn't like her. But I never asked her again. I thought, no, I'll just leave that one go. So I actually, became a childcare counselor. I worked with kids. That's how I came out to BC to begin with, to work with motion disturbed kids. And then my best friend I called her a hair commando. And she was from Britain, and she had, a big...
Faux hawk?
Oh, yeah. She had it was a fan. It was a fan. And it was all like 50 different colors.
Wow.
I used to have, I had the first extensions, 150 done with metal and gluing them in. And so she was, my best friend. And so she was
Must be like way ahead of her time.
Oh, yeah. Well, this was back in, I could think, the early 80s.
Okay.
Yeah, the early 80s. So she came right from England. So
Yeah.
she was right in the thick of it. And she used to produce fashion shows for the underground clothing store and stuff like that, and with drag queens. And we used to wear crazy makeup, right? It was the 80s.
It's the 80s makeup, yeah.
Big hair and I used to do a lot of eye makeup. I didn't know anything about skin, but I knew lots about eye makeup. And I started doing all her models for her. And I just loved it. And then I decided to take a makeup course. And that's sort of how it all happened. And then I was hired from my makeup teachers. Every one of my makeup teachers hired me. So I was kind of lucky that way. Yeah.
It's like painting faces, making art. I love that.
And changing characters. And that's why I liked film so much, because there was always about telling a story. And so there was always an intellectual part of the process of doing makeup, because I've also always been a real student. Things really always interested me. So, yeah.
So how did you get into film? Like, when did that happen? Like, starting from fashion and runway to film?
Well, it was through my school, Blanche McDonald, actually, because my second teacher was, in television. And so I could get a little job doing the news for, the Laurie Lapierre show and the noon news on CKVU. And so I started in with that. And then I loved the whole idea of characters. And then I took Todd McIntosh's course I took it twice actually in FX, and he hired me as his assistant on Wise Guy. That was my first
I
show.
remember.
So so Wise Guy was my first show as an assistant, and and then it just went from there.
And there were so many shows being filmed here in Vancouver even back then. MacGyver was here as well.
I was on MacGyver. Yeah, it was my second show. And there was one night, actually, Zara, I was standing at the bottom of Blood Alley. I was a student, and I could see that they were filming with like lightning and, rain, and it was just crazy. And I was standing at the bottom of that alley, and I thought, someday I'm going to be standing on one of these sets. And 10 years later, to the day, we're on Blood Alley. We're filming with lightning and rain, and we're doing Neverending Story 3.
Oh,
and
you worked on Neverending?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I did Jack Black's makeup.
Ah.
And then the producer came by and he said, "You're not going to believe this, but 10 years to the day, they were filming Neverending Story 1. And that was me as a student standing at the bottom of the alley." So yeah,
that's
so
my
cool,
childhood.
Right?
Okay, so
Oh, yeah,
I was
okay.
born in Pakistan, and I must have seen the Never-Ending Story so many times.
Oh, wow.
And the journey that it takes me on, and the music and everything, that is truly magical.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Norma Patton-Lowen, Hallie's makeup artist, was the head of department on that movie. And that's how I got to know her. So we were talking a little bit about Frankie and Alice. She was the personal for Hallie, and I was the head of department for the rest of the show.
That is so inspiring, and I'm sure there must be some makeup artists watching. I have a lot of friends who are makeup artists because, when you work with someone who is doing your face, helping you get into character and get you ready to perform, it is a close bond.
It is,
when someone is, and there has to be trust and this connection that happens. So quite a few of my friends are makeup artists, and I worked with them on features, and when I moved to Paris, they came and visited me and stayed with me. I want to hear about some stars that you have worked with that made you go like, oh my goodness, I can't believe I get to work with this person and do their makeup.
Well, I think one of the important people in my life is Jennifer Beals. And so I did Jennifer's makeup for 6 years on the L Word, along with Pam Grier is another one that was just
Powerful
outstanding
women.
human beings. So interesting, and they really taught me a lot. Mia Kirshner on the L Word, she was the one that introduced me to clean makeup, and also Jennifer, was very involved, always using organics and stuff. So I learned a lot from them. Those, and Pam Grier was she was the one that, when we were trying to name the products, and we had them all named. I had permission from the studio to name them by the characters. And the day before printing, they pulled it. They pulled permission. I was in the trailer, and I was having a little cry because I didn't know what I was going to do. And Pam walked in, and she said, as Pam does, she said, "Girlfriend, you can use our names." She said, "Our names are going to be around for a lot longer than theirs." And so it was something that I had never even thought to ask. I wouldn't, it wouldn't. And then I found out that people like being asked. So that's why we named most of the foundations after the women that we, fashioned the colors on and stuff. So that's how all that came to. So I think, the L Word actually was like a huge part of my life. Yeah.
Like life-changing.
Yeah, and Jennifer's still part of my company.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, still very supportive. And so, yeah, she was somebody that has really made a difference in my life. Like I say, Mia Kirshner, she was like, "I'm not wearing any more parabens in any of my makeup, Joann." And I was like, "I don't know what you're talking about." And she had just come back from Paris, so she knew all about it, right?
Yeah, and especially when you have that product on your face all day. 12 to 16-hour days, 5 days a week. You could be doing promo stills and whatever on the weekend. Like, even for me, it's like over the weekend I was playing beach volleyball, and to not have something on my skin is such a nice freeing feeling. And I've used your products. And so let's talk about Sappho. You're the founder of Sappho New Paradigm. what inspired Sappho? It sounds like it started with conversations with you and the ladies from the L Word.
It did, yeah.
And what made you take the big step of, I'm going to create a makeup line, a makeup collection?
Well, so originally it was basically a very small idea. I just wanted to have a line in my truck. I wanted to be able to, and I thought I could have a little online store for when I retired. And so I just really wanted to be able to offer people an alternative because I didn't want to take part in someone else getting cancer. And so it was a very small idea, and it sort of took off. Like it got, people liked it, and people asked for it, and all of a sudden I'm in stores and I'm learning about what a SKU is. And I mean, I knew nothing, and it still shows. I'm still not the best business person in the world. I'm not that interested in it, that part. I like the creative part,
artistic,
right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I know a lot more than I did. I've certainly, learned a lot in the last 10 years. But it was really demand, and it was people interested in the line and liking the idea, and really, I think that, women in general, and that's our biggest customer, are really tired of being lied to. They just really would like to have some transparency. And I think we all do in all areas of our lives, not just cosmetics.
So are you making the line here, or where does it
Well,
get
we
made?
make it in Canada.
Okay,
Yes,
that's
all
massive.
Yeah, absolutely. And everything's made in Canada. Yeah.
And you were mentioning earlier, before we started and the cameras started rolling, we were talking about testing, and that a lot of, without naming any names, that a lot of even brands that are clean beauty brands, that the amount of chemicals that they can have. Like, I have some clean beauty brands that you happened to mention earlier. And how does that work? How can you make makeup without those toxins?
Well, it's a challenge because so first of all, we're discussing forever chemicals, and there's something that we're just sort of learning about. So that's the real challenge. I don't think any clean brand went out of their way to offer a product that has these forever chemicals in it. We just didn't know about them, but we know about them now. And there was some things that were a little bit slidey, like using things like a lot of plastic and using things like dimethicones and silicones. They were always skirting an edge, and I think that's sort of been a bit difficult. Those things are going to have to go, but we didn't know about it, right? So now we've known about them for about 2.5 years now.
Okay.
And it was a young woman with a website called Mamavation that is testing all sorts of things. So you can test clothes. She tests everything from food to. She was the big whistleblower on this. So we found out after years and years of research that these forever chemicals exist in makeup. And so we started testing, and we started testing for the first 200, which is a PFAS test. But then we found out that there are 12,000, and that many of them haven't been tested. So it's all very, very new science. So now we are working with BCIT. We are getting all our products tested for forever chemicals. We've been very fortunate. Our most of our cosmetic line, most of our certainly our skincare stuff, our foundations, our CC creams, our concealers, and our vegan mascara are all testing undetected for 10 parts per million, which is pretty amazing.
So it is possible then to make makeup that lasts. So my question is, how long then can, obviously the other brands that are using all these chemicals, I don't know much about creating foundation or makeup and such. What is the expiration date like?
It would be the same.
Okay.
Honestly, I think, the thing is that PFAS are very ubiquitous, so they can actually get into that makeup through their water. So it could be different from batch to batch as well. It can come from the tubes that maybe the tubes are Teflon coated. Maybe there's no PFAS in the makeup itself. So we're at the very beginning of a huge, this testing is like at the very beginning of trying to mitigate these 12,000 chemicals from our products. So we're just really learning, and we're applying for a research grant with BCIT. We've just done four months of work with them. We're sending our stuff to a lab in the States, but we're just learning. There's so many more questions than there are answers, because this is all a big surprise.
Yeah, and I can imagine, like, not just the damage that is long term and cancer causing, how it's damaging our skin, or how it's saying that, okay, this has SPF, but what is it really doing? That's why for me, like on a day-to-day basis, for me it's just moisturizer and sunscreen. Like I will maybe wear mascara and something like a gloss, but I just feel my skin the best when I don't have that stuff.
But it's also important to protect your skin now too.
Yeah.
So we need like it, in some ways, foundation and CC
it is a barrier.
Can actually help you with a little bit of a barrier between you and the environment. So it's that kind of thing. We just really want to get to a place, and we will be working with other Canadian companies, which I was just looking at a text from one, because we're trying to bring in some companies that are also interested, skincare, that kind of thing, that are interested in doing the testing with us and joining with us, so that we can be on the cutting edge. Canada can be on the cutting edge of clean cosmetics, and truly clean cosmetics, like scientifically certified, or not certified, but at least quantified. It's going to be complicated, because it's going to, like I said, we're coming out with a new product, and there's one component of it. We had to make 4 of the wands to just find one that tested under 10 parts per million for PFAS, or forever chemicals. So it's very exciting. It's a bit daunting, and so there's no easy answer. It's going to take time and money. But we're getting a really great response from our sales. Are really good, even though we have less products this year, because we're letting go of any products that are testing high, and we're finding that certain products are testing quite high, so we're letting them go, not replacing them until we can replace them with something that we know is testing under 10 parts per million.
Got it. Can you, other than Jennifer Beals, can you share any other celebrities who are fans of Sappho?
Well, we almost were on a Vogue Rachel Zoe video. She asked us for a product. I was during the Freedom convoy thing, so unfortunately our products didn't make it on time as a result of that, but she's a big fan.
Oh, wonderful.
I don't know. It's just that we have a lot of makeup artists use our products, and I know that, like, for instance, the guy that, and I don't even know his name, that's the Flash, he only wears Sappho.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Only wears Sappho.
I know I've seen in makeup trailers, I've seen Sappho, and I was like, oh, this is great. I forget what set I was on, but they were doing my makeup, and yeah, I'd love to think of them right now, but of course I can't think off the top of my head. So congratulations to you on that. Now, what kind of products are you keeping with Sappho New Paradigm?
Well, we're keeping our EU certified stuff, which is the vegan mascara, the foundation, the concealer, the brow pomade, and we're in the middle of creating a lip and cheek product that you can use on both. You could probably use it on your eyes too. So we're working on that. We also, down the road, have a water resistant mascara that is not PFAS. That's not made with any PFAS. So we've got some things in the I guess the funnel. But it's going to be a smaller line for sure. We'll keep our brushes. But mostly we have some strong skin stuff, our foundations and our CC creams. Our CC cream just tested under 2 parts per million with BCIT, so that's really super great. But that's one color. The darker color actually tested higher. So so then we have to test more things, right? So then you have to go into raw ingredients. So which is why we're going for this research grant.
Yeah.
Because it's not just, it's quite complicated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It sounds like you have a lot of passion for creating clean beauty.
I do.
Other than the obvious reasons, where did this passion come from to create products that are good for you? And you know that not just you, not just the actors that you're working with can wear, but something that you can share with others.
Well, my mom died of brain cancer.
Mm.
So that made a huge, that was tough. And actually, my sister has leukemia.
I'm sorry to hear
My
that.
brother had Hodgkin's disease, and my father also had tumors. So it was very close to me to try to understand like why this is happening to the people in my family, and to watch somebody go through like my best girlfriend right now, my oldest girlfriend right now has got stage 4 ovarian. She was diagnosed on the day that COVID shut down. And, just watching people go through it, having girlfriends, family members, and you just think, well, we know that this didn't exist in this kind of way, 50 years ago. Like, why is this happening? And I think that was my biggest thing. I have an incredible sense of fairness, what I think is fair. And I also really believe that one has to be honest. And I was so appalled that my whole life I've been putting this stuff on people, not like just thinking I was being taken care of. I thought that, I thought we were being taken care of. I thought that people were making decisions based on safety. I didn't realize that they put a product out there and then if it's not safe, they maybe pull it back. Like it doesn't work like, oh, we test everything and then we put it out there. So I think I was just so, I think I felt ripped off and a bit feisty. So it made me want to offer something to the world that is actually, that's what a new paradigm is about. It's about, let's have a conversation. Business opportunities don't have to be opportunities to take advantage of someone else. It might be an advantage actually to work with somebody and have conversations. And so we have that relationship with the stores that we sell to and our customers, and we try to have conversations. It's not about who's going to win. It's like, how can we all, do better?
I love that. And you can hear your passion and your dedication to this because this has been for the last 10, 12 years.
It has been.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's been tough. Like since COVID, it's been really tough. It was really, it was a lot of work. And, I have a woman that works with me, Naomi Claypo. She's amazing. And the two of us, even learning about PFAS, the tears, and what are we going to do, and how are we going to tell people, and how can we keep going, and how are we going to find money to test? And we can't sell this without testing, or we can't, we have to tell people the truth. And if they want to buy it, then, then okay. Like my niece, she's like, I'm buying the blush. I'm like, it's got PFAS. And she's like, I'm buying it anyway. And I'm like, okay, well, wear the foundation first. So you got it, but you have to let people make their own decisions, but you have to give them the information and the tools to be able to make those decisions. Because maybe she's only going to wear it once a month or something, or maybe she's only going to wear it when she goes out to dinner, and she's okay with that,
Yeah.
But I think it's like you allow people you give them the information to empower them to make the decisions.
And then it's your decision what you want to do with that. That completely makes sense. Well, I completely support your clean beauty, and I think before I moved to Paris I got some of your products, and I remember like the eye palette. Did you have an eye? Yes. And mascara, and how nice and gentle your CC cream was. Because I'm really not into, I'm wearing some makeup right now, but I'm really not into the full, I won't say any names, but I'm not into like a full-on makeup look, because I do think that there's something to be said about natural beauty and allowing the real you to be showcased. But that's also been a journey, like when I was 20, I couldn't even leave my home without heels and my hair and makeup like looking a certain way. So that's been a journey that I've been on. So I would like to talk about working as a makeup artist and making women look beautiful, men look beautiful, people look beautiful, and how, because you've touched many faces. A lot of actors you've worked with, obviously it's not just about making them look beautiful, it's also character driven, but bringing certain of their features out. But also when you do I remember we did an Instagram or Facebook live back in the day, how the way you would do something, I normally don't do it, but you're able to bring certain features out that I don't see. So that is your natural gift.
Yeah.
How does that feel to be able to make people feel beautiful and special?
That's the best part. When you do a makeup and someone feels great about it, it just fills you with joy because you've solved a problem. I did a makeup just a little while ago, and I really didn't know how it was going to work out. I was a little bit nervous. And she wanted a completely different look. And I thought, how am I going to do this? And, all I did was really I changed her eyebrows. And I gave her these amazing eyebrows. And it changed her whole look, her whole demeanor. When she walked out the door, she just felt really great. And I see her in pictures now, and I can see, and and so it makes you feel good. It's like you've given somebody a gift if you've solved a problem, and whatever that problem is, whether you need to look like an old man for that picture, or whether you need to look like, or you're doing the big reveal of the from the ugly duckling to the supermodel. There's lots of cheesy MOWs that we've done that on. But whenever you do something like that, whenever you nail something, it feels really great. Whether it's a beauty makeup or a prosthetic makeup of I don't know, somebody's face being chewed off or something.
So other than the L Word, sounds like you have lots of fond memories from the L Word. What other shows that you have worked on that are very near and dear to you, or like specific moments or episodes that you've been on that really stand out for you in your career as a makeup artist in film and television?
Well, I have to say Reefer Madness. So Reefer Madness was a musical. It's set in the 30s, and it's what we got the Emmy nomination for. And it was all dancing, and the actress that I was doing was the 1930s bombshell. And so I said to the director, I said, I want her lips to look like a red Cadillac. And he was like, oh, that's perfect. And they're always perfect, even though she's kind of the floozy in the story and keeps falling down and just, was just always like a mess. Her lips were always perfect. And I love it because it was a character makeup. It was really fun, and she got to be like, we got to do all sorts of different things. And I just actually wrote about one of the moments in that, and that was when I had to, twice in my career now I've had to shave butts. And on one was for my father's daughter, where we had to have a double that had to have folliculitis on his butt. So, and then the other one was Reefer Madness, where we had to give him one of the actors, a dancer in a dance scene. We had to give him like a branding on both cheeks of S&M. So, those moments, and, they just bring out so much fun. Like, everybody just laughs. And so that was really great because it was a musical. Bye Bye Birdie was a musical. I assisted Rosalina on that one. It was a lot of fun that summer. And the other ones that I really love are really near and dear to me are the Final Destinations. Because, especially the last one, which was in 3D. It was really cool. It was fascinating to be on set. We were always included with the producers to watch all the the cameras because it was 3D. If you get a pimple going the wrong way, it can come out at you. So you have to be watching. No, I swear to God, I almost actually broke my leg running to get one. To flatten it down because of the angle. Yeah. Because in 3D it looks like it's going to come out and attack you. So, but they're always really fun. I know it's all about death, but the deaths are always really hilarious. Like you just can't help but just.
I went to see all of them in theater.
Yeah, I mean they're all just so like I remember the guy with the dumbbells. I mean, we laughed so hard when that fake head got snapped. I don't know. It was just really fun. It's just they're big productions, so they're really complicated and they're well thought out. And the producers are really fantastic. And they're doing another one in September. And I think, oh gosh, if I had a kid. But I don't have a kid anymore, so I don't want to stand on set for 15 hours a day. But I certainly would like to go on a day and say hello for sure. But those were really fun. They were really, really fun. And the early days MacGyver, driving out to the Port Moody at 4:00 in the morning out to the GVRD or somewhere. And
we know about the film hours. We know about the film hours.
But I felt like I was like part of this little group of people that were going out to make to create.
Yeah.
And it was just really super. And that was, it was really, it was really fun. Yeah, there was a lot of them. I mean, there's very few productions that I was really unhappy on. Most of them I always found, particularly I found joy in the makeup trailer, and that's really was my home, right? So if you were working with, after I worked with Paul Edwards, amazing hairdresser, we just always had so much fun. We had more fun than anybody, we were always up to no good. And so yeah, there's just a lot of things that was really great. I feel very lucky that I was in that business. I'm very glad to be out of it. I also know that there's a lot of wrong things about that business that I would like to see fixed, and I hope that the strikers do well. And all of that. But I mean, there's a lot of productions that were just really great. And the Ella Verby got to go to LA every year.
That's so wonderful. I'm sure so many amazing memories. Before I let you go, I really want to know what it was like working with Halle Berry. I know you didn't do her makeup, but on Frankie and Alice, what that was like.
Well, she's a consummate professional, is all I can say. Is really, and actually that movie, although a lot of people didn't see it,
I saw it.
It's
my friend Adrian Holmes is in it.
Yes, Adrian.
And he's
I did
had
Adrian's
great
makeup.
success.
Yeah, and I did all hand laid. Those.
Okay.
All his sideburns were all hand done. So she is just an amazing actress. She did everything herself. She did all her stunts herself. She really involves herself in the characters. And there was one day where she did a performance with Stellan Skarsgård. It blew my mind. It blew me away. It was just so great. And it, like I say, it was one of those smaller movies that there was production problems that had nothing to do with anything really of us. Which is why it wasn't, really widely
I love the plot. I thought it was so story. Artistic, and I didn't know that.
It's based on a true story.
I didn't know that. Absolutely. I loved her performance, and I loved the plot.
Yeah, it's a great story. It's a story about a woman that's got a mental illness, and she believes that she has different personalities, and one of those personalities is a white racist. And she really did a great job. It's a great story, and it's based on a true story, a true person, and a woman that lives in California.
Wow.
So I mean, Halle, she's just a team player. Yeah.
Amazing.
And I have to say, I'm going to put a plug in for Norma Patton-Low and her makeup artist, because she does an amazing job. Yeah. And Norma also was the first person to give me a book. When Mia told me about chemicals and makeup, I phoned Norma right away, and I said, "What do you know about this?" And she said, "Oh, I just got this book, Just Not a Pretty Face." Not just a pretty face. And would you like to come and borrow it? So I did, and it changed my life. That was the thing that changed my life. If you can read that book, Not Just a Pretty Face, you'll see what the whole history is and what needs to be changed and why we need to change it.
We'll have to look that up. Now, the next few questions we ask all of our guests.
Okay.
What inspires you in life?
Oh, creativity. Yeah, creativity. I love watching humans create things that are different and interesting and beautiful, yeah, I get really excited about visuals and yeah.
I love that. Is there a particular spot in Vancouver that you like to go to that inspires you, whether it is a hike or the gallery or a spot that is like, this is my spot?
You know, not really. I don't really have a spot. But my favorite moment of any day that I could ever think of is to be driving across that Lionsgate Bridge at sunrise. And on the way to film, you know, we did that a lot. And so when I see the mountains, I feel really grounded. I love the mountains. They're really important to me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today, Joann. It's a pleasure to see you, and I'm so glad we reconnected. And congratulations, and kudos to you for doing this important work and research with Sappho New Paradigm. I truly stand behind everything that you're doing, and thank you again for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
My
Thanks
pleasure.
so much.
My pleasure.